I was very depressed in this time, very depressed. I didn't find any, let's say, fulfillment in my life at all. And then I had heard about ayahuasca, so I contacted somebody who I knew had spoken about this. So I told him, I remember you spoke about ayahuasca once, like, where can I do this? He told me, leave it. When it's meant for you, it will come to you. So I did leave it. And then I was with my boyfriend at the time, and on his desk there was a book. I didn't read it, I just took it home with me. And when I started reading, it was about ayahuasca. And the funny thing is that his mother had bought it in a thrift shop without looking into the book. She just bought it and left it there for me. And when she found out that it was about ayahuasca, she nearly got a heart attack because she didn't want me to do that stuff. This was like a signal that it was time for me to start. When I was younger, when I was a teenager, I started doing, I was busy with techniques like pranayama, and I was listening to a CD usually of chanting Om, like a guy was chanting Om, and I was doing the same, like many years later, I think 10 years later. I was in a restaurant, a small restaurant, a spiritual shop, and then I saw this little advertisement of Om chanting, so I was like, wow, I did this when I was younger, so let me go check. And then I met devotees of Guruji. The funny story is actually that they told me about Guruji, and that night, I think, I went to watch Guruji on YouTube. And I remember thinking, no, he's not my guru. I don't know why I thought this. And the same night, I dreamed about Guruji. And in the dream, I felt this intense love that I've never experienced in my life. He felt like my father, my true father. And this feeling I cannot describe. I've never experienced this ever in my life. So this was the first thing that he grabbed me, like, with his love. So I was thinking, okay, who is this guy? Like, let me Google avatar, because what is an avatar? What is a master even? I Googled avatar and master. So I stumbled on a book called Avatars of the Master. And I left it. I just went throughout my day. And then I think 2 weeks later, I was at a darshan with Guruji. And the most remarkable thing happened. I was in front of Guruji almost, and there was a person in front of me. And the person had placed the book on Guruji's lap. But I was, let's say, looking around, and at a certain point, I feel somebody touch my face, pulling it towards his lap. But he didn't touch me, nobody touched me. But I could clearly feel somebody moving my face towards his lap. And there was the book, Avatars of the Master. And to make it even more funny, that same day, I think somebody offered me the book. So, like, many of these experiences were just like overflowing. And I knew, I just understood, okay, this is not a normal experience and this is not a normal human being. And what I especially had learned, that I had, for 2 or 3 years, I had been searching teachers. I had desperately been searching for teachers who could help me attain this realization, which I didn't call realization at that time because I wasn't aware that that was what I was searching. But I was searching for many years, enlightenment, and I had tried to find it in places that nobody could give it to me, because even though all these shamans and teachers and healers, they had these supernatural abilities, none of them had realized who they are. And none of them were actually not identified with their ego. And this was why I kept on bumping into the same thing over and over again. But with Guruji, I knew that it was different. He showed me in my life with miracles, with mystical experiences, that he is different and that he really is the true one. He is you will not find someone like Guruji in your ordinary day. You will just not find it. Eventually, I just went to Guruji because I thought, well, I might as well come here. And then the funny thing was, in the darshan, he had told me what nobody else had told me, and I knew that he knew everything about me. I knew that he knew what I was thinking, that he had known me better than I had ever known myself, and that I can know myself. So after that, I've had some experiences, and I got initiated into Kriya Atma Kriya Yoga. And I had practiced, I think, for a year. But because I was still heavily in the shamanism, believing that I would be a shaman, and I was training with 2 shamans. So I tried to run away, like many times. Every occasion that was kind of like looked a bit bad. I was like, okay, I'm out of here. I'm never going. And luckily, he just kept me here. When I entered the ashram, there was Swami Parantaba. And he was standing there, like waiting for me. And he told me, like, when are you going to stop the ayahuasca? So I told him, how do you know that I'm doing ayahuasca? And he ignored my question. And then he basically told me, like, being with Guruji is like a constant ayahuasca ceremony, because I was doing it because I was searching. I was searching for answers, for healing and enlightenment. This was my goal. But I was searching in places that obviously I couldn't find it. So then Swami Parantaba told me clearly, like, you're not going to find what you're looking for at the ayahuasca. So I went upstairs and I just cried my eyes. I was like, wow, how dare you say this to me? And I remember telling Guruji, like, in my heart, like, if you really want me to stop, you have to tell me personally. So what happens is I go down to check out, and guess who's sitting behind me? Guruji. So I guess, okay, this is time. Now it's time. So I asked him, and then he told me, I asked him, is it true that I should stop the ayahuasca? So he said, no, I will never ask you to stop anything, but it's ayahuasca keeps you in delusion. This is what he literally said. And he said it's okay if you do it once in a while, but because I was, like I said, I was training to be a shaman, so I was doing it very often, and I was doing other plant medicines as well to get the biggest experience. But I was really searching. It wasn't like just having fun. I was really planning to go that path. So then I said, okay. And then we talked about me being initiated, and then I remember even asking him if I should become a devotee, and then he said something, and then he told me that I already was. Then he gave me his necklace. And the smell that was on this necklace was the most divine thing that I've ever smelled in my life. It was I have no words to describe this smell. And it had stayed with me for 3 weeks or 2 weeks, I'm not sure. But for a long time, and it was such an amazing feeling. And because I still wasn't really quite ready to accept my life, how it was, and I didn't really understand it yet, what was happening, I went to Guatemala for 30 days to do a silent retreat. And in this silent retreat, I had been, like, every day they were giving lectures about saints, about enlightened masters. And then it finally hit me that there was an enlightened being in my life. I just didn't get it until then. Years before, I had read Autobiography of Yogi of Yogananda, Paramahamsa Yogananda. And while reading it, I had made an intense prayer that I wanted to meet my guru. I started connecting the dots. Okay, wow. So this is how it is. I've made a prayer like years ago, and here I am. And now he's in my life, so I guess things are going to change. And I was still in the shamanic path, but I had felt, okay, it's coming to an end. So after I saw Guruji, when he gave me the necklace, I was at a festival playing guitar, and there just was a group of small baby frogs, like, walking in front of my feet. And this felt very auspicious. I just knew, okay, this is some kind of message. So then shortly after, maybe it was the same day, I received a message from a friend of mine who is a very good shaman, actually, and healer. And he told me that a Mexican shaman was here in Holland who is giving this frog medicine, toad medicine actually, from the Sonora Desert, which has the God molecule. So it can really bring intense deep healing. But it's very intense. Like, usually they advise you not to do it because it can be, you can get a very big life transformation. And so I decided to go with it. And my intention for this ceremony was actually to meet God and to know who I truly was, who I truly am. So I went into the ceremony and I lost body consciousness. It felt like I was dying. And then I was in a state that I actually realized who I am. It was very clear to me. And the funny thing is that Guruji was present. And he told me, you are trying to attain something in a weekend that people use 30 years of their life to do. We were having such a deep conversation that it was like we knew each other on such an intimate level that I cannot explain. It felt like I was in ecstasy with everything. It was just complete, ecstasy, but with everything and everyone, simultaneously. And my heart was just completely open. And I knew that I was searching this, but that I would never find this exact feeling in this world. And I could just feel this spiral coming out of my third eye, and it was from a very big magnitude, let's say, and I acquainted it to God consciousness because I didn't know any other term. So what also happened in this experience, because I had such a high level of, let's say, realization in this experience, I couldn't handle it because obviously my mind wasn't trained. My mind was not used to this. I could experience the future, the past, and the present in simultaneously. But my mind couldn't handle it, so I lost complete, I became completely crazy in this experience. And I remember seeing Guruji and being devastated. I just remember looking at Guruji, and I could see that he would go farther and farther away. The more I would go more deeply into the lower frequencies of consciousness, like the guilt and the shame, and which obviously I had not worked through, which you would need, let's say, your whole life to work through instead of just getting enlightenment like that, which is why we, of course, meet the Guru to help us to this purification, which I had not gone through. And this is what he was referring to, like, you are trying to do within a weekend what you need your whole life to do. And this, I think he literally told me, this is why I don't like these things. Like this experiences, this ceremonies that I was doing. This is why he said why I don't like it, because you are trying to basically get a shortcut. And there is no shortcut to realization. It doesn't exist. After I had done the Buffa of Arias, I was having, let's say, many mystical deep experiences in heightened consciousness. One night, Guruji came to me in a dream. It was very clear, and he was very clear to me that I couldn't do that again. He's my spiritual father, but he is much more. There are actually no words to explain who he is, because I think that anything that I would say would diminish him, would diminish our relationship. I remember sometimes the path is difficult, and I think, well, maybe I should stop. And then I think, no, it makes no sense to stop, because there is nothing outside of Guruji. There is nothing in this world that has any value but being with Guruji. And yes, it's difficult. Of course it's difficult. But I will not find anything better than Guruji. How Guruji has transformed my life, my vision of how I see life, the relationship with myself. He has brought value into my life. That is not to be found in the world or anywhere else, to say the least.